do you see yourself being a teacher forever? And I honestly don't feel like I had an overwhelming first year. I'm having an overwhelming second year though. So yeah, my work and life balance is not great right now. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be answering some of your questions that you asked over on Instagram. I apologize if there's an echo in here. Actually, no, there is an echo in here, but I do apologize for it. I'm currently filming in my home office. It is kind of furnished, like I have a rug, a desk, a couch, a plant, but it's still echoing in here. So I'll definitely be working on that over break. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and answer your questions that you asked over on Instagram. Okay, so first question comes from Christina.gay, and she asked, how/why do you think you got subscribers so quickly when you started your channel? And I feel like a lot of people that are subscribed to me don't know that I've actually been on YouTube for like 5 years now, so I didn't necessarily grow my channel like overnight. I used to make beauty, fashion, lifestyle kind of videos on my channel for the first 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and that got me up to, I believe, 19,000 subscribers. Then in May of 2017, that's when I made the decision to switch over my content to more like a vlog, education style type content. Then I also put up my previous videos that had to do with makeup, fashion, lifestyle, all on private. So I do have about 100 videos that are on private. As far as why people subscribe to me, I really don't know. I think it might be because when I started posting teacher vlogs and stuff like that, there wasn't that many people out there doing it. It's almost as if I got into this teacher YouTuber thing just in time. And then also at the time I uploaded very consistently, like I uploaded once or twice a week without fail. Now it's harder, and I'll talk about that later in another question. So the next question comes from _N_Ponce. Sorry if I butcher usernames. Usernames are so hard to pronounce. But this person asked, now that you've taught for a few years, how is the work/life balance with teaching? Not good. This is only my second year of teaching, so I don't have that many years of teaching under my belt. And not only that, but I feel like I've undergone so many changes in such a short amount of time. For example, I finished my first year teaching. I also left my first school. I changed grade levels. I went into a new school. I got married. We bought a house, we got a dog, and the list just goes on and on and on. So I feel like my work and personal life balance was so much better last school year because I feel like I had everything in its own little box. So now being married definitely changed things better in my personal life because I love spending time with my husband, and because of that, I don't necessarily want to get home and just work more like I used to when I lived by myself. So yeah, my work and life balance is not great right now, but I am hoping that once I have this 1 year under my belt in first grade, next year will be a lot easier. The next question comes from Serena Jones, and she asked, do you plan on teaching at the same school and grade level next year? I think so. The school that I currently teach at is really small, so there's only one teacher per grade level, and I don't see myself changing grade levels within that school. I also feel like if I change schools, that wouldn't necessarily look good on my resume if I ever wanted to go somewhere else in the future, because then that would mean that I changed schools 3 times in my first 3 years. Does that make sense? Carly221 asks, do you want to have kids? And yes, I do, and so does Alex, but not right now. Obviously, we want to enjoy a married life for a couple years just on our own. Princess_Kelsey asks, how do you deal with the overwhelming first year? I honestly don't feel like I had an overwhelming first year. I'm having an overwhelming second year though. My first year was literally amazing. I had the most supportive team, the most supportive like school, super supportive parents, and great group of kids. Literally everything about my first year was amazing. This year, I'm not saying that it's bad, but I am having a harder time because I am the only first grade teacher, and yes, I do talk to the grade above me and the grade below me, but it's still hard. And then also, and I've talked about this so many times, but it's also really hard not having alone time in my classroom. But I feel like it's gonna be a lot easier now going into the 3rd quarter because I have a home office now. So I have my own space, finally. So I feel like it's gonna make it easier. But yeah, I didn't have an overwhelming first year. I'm having an overwhelming second year, and the way I deal with it is just venting about it with friends that are not teachers, like my friend Cass. She's just like my hype man, and she makes me feel a lot better. She's very logical, but makes me feel better about how I'm feeling. It makes me feel like I'm not crazy. Does that make sense? If you're having an overwhelming first year, definitely talk about it with other people. The next question comes from Santia. I don't know how to say this name. She asked, what's something you would change about your student teaching experience? And I don't think it would change anything. I think my student teaching experience was pretty positive as well. I loved every minute of it. I really got along with my mentor teacher. We still keep in touch, and I had a really good group of students. It was a really good school, and honestly, it wouldn't change any of it. Leon _ asked, do you see yourself being a teacher forever? And probably not, but let me explain. So when Alex and I decided to have kids, I don't think I'll be teaching until my kids are in kindergarten. The reason for that is because kids are little for such a short amount of time. The first few years are so precious that I wouldn't want to miss them. And childcare is so expensive that I would basically be working to pay childcare. And on top of that, I feel like I use so much of my patience at school that I feel like it wouldn't be fair for my kid for me to come home and not be as patient as I could be because I used all of my patience up in the classroom. Does that make sense? So definitely take a break from teaching and hopefully come back once my kids are school aged. Now Alex asked, if you were not teaching right now, what would you be doing? And it's funny because Alex and I were having this conversation on our way to my in-laws' house. I think that if I was not a teacher, I'd be somewhere in the psychology field or criminal justice. I know, it's weird. And the reason for that is because I love watching true crime YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I feel like that's what I would pursue if I didn't go for teaching. Samantha asked, to become a kinder teacher, did you graduate with a bachelor's degree or something higher? Bachelor's degree. I graduated with a bachelor's degree, but I graduated with a elementary education bachelor's degree. And at the time when I graduated, you couldn't teach kindergarten unless you were early childhood. But then Arizona changed it shortly after. I know in some states you have to get your master's within a certain amount of time upon graduation, but not in Arizona. So Hani asked, what big exams did you have to take to become a teacher? In California, we have to take the CSET and I don't know, it cut off, sorry. So in Arizona, you have to take 3 big tests. You have to take the professional knowledge test, subset 1 and subset 2. So professional knowledge is basically what it is. Just terms and stuff like that. And these subtests are more subject driven. So there's a math part, ELA part, science part, social studies part, art, PE, arts, stuff like that. So those are pretty much the ones I had to take here in Arizona. I also took the early childhood professional knowledge test just so I could become highly qualified for kindergarten and early childhood if I wanted to. On top of that, we did have to turn in a digital portfolio for our university, which I did, but I don't remember the password or anything about it. So if you don't know, then you'll know right now. I'm a very shy person. Once I get to know you, it's fine, but right off the bat, I can be very shy. So I get this type of question a lot, were you shy? If so, how did you overcome it? And I feel like my shyness did not translate into the classroom at all. I feel like I'm a completely different person in the classroom as I am out in real life. And I don't know why. In the classroom, I don't care if I'm making a complete fool of myself. I don't care when people come and watch me teach. And I think it's because I'm so passionate about it that I just don't care what I look like when I'm doing it, because I know that I love it. So I don't know if that's the case for everybody out there that's shy, but at least that's how it is for me. Were you nervous about leaving your school to a new one? I'm considering moving. And yes, I really was. I feel like my situation is a little bit different because I was already very familiar with the school that I'm at right now. I worked at this school for 3 years during college, up until graduation. I was actually gonna interview with them for a 4th grade position, but I was offered a kindergarten position, so I accepted that one instead. So like I said, I was already familiar with that school, but I was still very nervous. She also asked, how did you time manage as a first-year teacher? So last year, like I said, I lived on my own, and I would spend a lot of time at home working on school stuff. So I would come home, work on school stuff, eat a little bit, go to sleep. That was Monday through Friday. Sometimes I would see Alex on Friday nights and we'd go out to eat, or I would hang out with a friend. And then Saturdays is when I would see Alex or hang out with him. So I would spend the whole day with Alex on Saturdays, and Sundays would be the time where I would do all my chores. So grocery shopping, laundry, lesson planning, getting ready for the week. And honestly, that worked so well for me. I think it's a smart idea, and I should probably do that myself too now, to assign days for certain tasks. That way you don't leave it all for last minute. Probably take my own advice. Ames.Louise asks, what do you do for classroom management? I'm struggling with it. first year teacher. I am gonna film a video all about my classroom management this year because it is a lot different than it was last year. But just to make it short, I use a golden ticket system in my classroom. There are a few opportunities in the classroom where they are guaranteed to get a golden ticket. So for example, for being in school on time, turning in their homework, ELA workbooks, then they are guaranteed tickets. Outside of that, I give them tickets whenever I see them doing something nice, working hard, or just because. At the end of the day, if they have 10 tickets, they are able to participate in exploration time, which is just a fancy word for free play time. I have about 15 minutes of free play at the end of each day. So let's say they had 14 tickets at the end of the day, they get to keep 4 for the next day, and it just keeps going on like that. Fridays, if they have more than 10 tickets, they get to get something from the prize box. But that is pretty much my system. And it works really, really great with my first graders. Like I said, I will make a video more in depth about it, so be on the lookout for that. Lovely MJ88 asks, will you ever film a hair tutorial for your curls? And yes, I will. Now that I am on winter break, I definitely have that planned, so yes, I will. Oh, this one's a good one. Teachers Love Apples asks, was buying a house a long process? Also, how did you study for your teaching exams? Buying a house was a long process. I think we started like seriously looking at houses back in March. I think so. We had fallen in love with this one house and it just didn't go through. The owner would just not lower his price at all, so we decided to walk. And after that, we looked at maybe 3 other houses before we looked at this one. When we came to look at this one, Alex had actually walked through it already before I did. So he had already made up his mind that he wanted this house, and then he asked me what I thought about it, and I really liked it, so we put in an offer. And this is also not our forever house either. I think if you would ask Alex, he'll tell you that maybe in 5 or 6 years, we'll probably buy another house and rent this one. I don't know. He has plans. But yeah, we toured this house, we put in an offer the next day, and I think we went back and forth once. So we put in an offer, they counter offered, and then we put in another offer, and then they accepted. That part was really fast. So I think that was in May of this year. It might have been April, it might have been May, I don't remember. But then we closed in June, and we didn't move in until July, I want to say. So the process did feel long, but only because I really wanted to move in so badly already, because my apartment lease had ended in May. So I was kind of just staying with my in-laws and I just really wanted my own space. But I think that's what made it feel so long. Other than that, I feel like it went pretty fast and pretty smooth, and it was definitely worth it. As far as how did I study for my teaching exams, I didn't do a lot of studying. I don't really know how to study. I did buy a study guide on the ADE website, and then I also bought one on Amazon that I had full intentions of going over it, and I didn't. I think I went over it a little bit the night before and called it a night. But I did give that study guide to a friend and she used it and it was very helpful, so link it down below. Miss Tebow asked, have you used your Cricut in the classroom so far? Yes, I have. I haven't used it a whole lot like I thought I would, but I used it a lot for when I was setting up my classroom for like letters and stuff like that, and just like little things like that. My Cricut was great for, but other than that, I haven't really used it as much. I tried using it in December to try to get ready, to try to prep materials for the book that we were making, but no. Cutting it by hand was gonna be so much easier and so much faster, so unfortunately I haven't used it a whole lot. _locks F? I don't know, low F? Are you planning on going back to school and getting a master's? Ideally, I would definitely want to, but teacher pay here in Arizona is not the greatest, and you don't get that much of a boost in salary for having your master's, so there's not a ton of incentive to get your master's in education here in Arizona, at least not where I've been. So I don't want to get myself into student debt just to get my master's, and there's really not a lot of return on my investment. So ideally, yes, maybe I'll do it like 1 credit at a time, I don't know, but not right now. E.M.H.C asks, what's your husband's career? I say this because I think it's amazing that you guys bought a house already and it cut off after that. My husband's in finance. He's been with his firm ever since he was in college. Like somehow he managed to get in there when people usually need a bachelor's. his bosses really liked him, and he's there now. So he's doing really well for himself, and I'm very proud of him for that. Miss Wimberly asked, how did you plan your guided reading during kindergarten? How many groups did you see? And then it cuts off. Oh. In kindergarten, I had about 4 or 5 groups, and I would use Simply Kinder's sight word readers a ton because my district was huge on sight words, so that was a great way to incorporate them. I did that. I also, depending on what group it was, I did a lot of CBC words, I did digraphs and blends, or I just went back to the basics and did letters and letter sounds and blending. It also feels like forever ago, so I don't remember a lot of it, but I would try to meet with 2 groups every day at least. Tina J asked, do you do fun Fridays? If you do, what do you do? Yeah, I do, but I pretty much do fun every day. Like I mentioned earlier, I am able to do free play at the end of the day. That's one of the benefits of being at this school. I can kind of do what I see fit. So I personally think free play is really important in the younger grades, so I do it. Whether that means 10 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, it just depends on our day. I let my students pick whatever they want. So I have 2 whiteboards in the back of the room that they can play on, and I often have students just pretending to be teachers, which is super adorable. I have my owl market that is open on Fridays. And then I bought this Dr. Felt play kit from Target. I have that. I have a Marble Run set that I bought from Home Goods. I have Legos. I have like those little hashtag blocks. I have Play-Doh. I have this one thing that I bought from Target during the summer. It's like a little bug kit. And that is a super popular thing that my kids do. They pretend that they're finding bugs all over the room, and it's super fun to watch. I just have like tangrams that I let them play whatever they want with. I also let them do Just Dance like on YouTube. I let them draw and color, or they can also pick a literacy or math station. And on Fridays is when I do prize box. So Annabelle16 asks, will you show more vids or pics from your wedding? And yes, I finally got my like wedding footage. Not really. So I had a really small wedding. It was a courthouse wedding, and we didn't have a photographer there just because we didn't feel like it'd be a good location to take pictures at. But my best friend did take tons of pictures and a little bit of video at the courthouse. So I was just waiting for her to send me the footage, and she finally did this week. So now that I have that, now that I have a new computer that can handle editing a lot better, I'll definitely show you guys a little bit about that. And if you're interested, I will also have my like Hawaii honeymoon travel diary. Like, it's not really that great, but I have a ton of footage from Hawaii, and I just put it together with some cool music in the background. So if you want to watch that, I'll have a link down below. It is an unlisted link, so it will not be on my channel if you go there, but if you click the link below, it will take you there. I'll answer one more question, and then if I get any more questions after that, I'll make a part 2. But this last question is, what is the hardest part about being a teacher? I think is that the job just doesn't stop when you get home. Like, for example, my husband's in finance, so when he gets home, he's done. He just relaxes and watches TV, and then he doesn't have to worry about work usually until the next day. For me, it's totally different. I'm always either answering parent messages or planning for the next day or trying to get resources for something or making resources or going out to the store and buying things or just like being concerned about students. It just doesn't stop, and that can be very, very draining on a person, and I can definitely see how teachers get burned out. So that is pretty much what I think is the hardest part about being a teacher. But there are so many great things about being a teacher that makes it all worth it. So while the questions do keep coming, those are all the ones I'm going to answer for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, the questions do keep coming, so I definitely do plan on making a part 2 to this video. Hopefully all the questions will be answered. Thank you so much for asking all these questions. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.